Hey everybody, and welcome back to another session of Build with Ben. And this is the session where we get to build things together. And so everything that we talk about in here is basically unscripted. So I do try to come up with an idea of things that we're going to build together, but beyond that, it's not as if I've practiced the code or whatnot. So the whole purpose of this session really is to see what's going on during like a live programming session, right? Like what kind of problems, how might we solve it? And also you'll see some of the ups and downs of trying to solve the problem. Sometimes it's really small. Sometimes it's a really big issue, and you got to figure out how to dive into things. And so in that regard, it kind of hopefully gives like a little bit of a picture of what it's like to be a software developer. But more importantly, it's also just a chance for us to hang out and just build fun stuff with technologies that we love. So for this particular session, we're going to be continuing our exploration of the local file API system that we started with a couple weeks ago. And so the whole idea behind this is a lot of times we want to be able to access data offline, or more importantly, we just want to control the data. And so this exploration is around creating a way for people to, for those who want to play with local data rather than having to hook up to a database and then having to rely on the service being up, you just play with local JSON files in a way that like feels like normal app flow. Because you can always import JSON files manually, but this is about giving like users permission. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Alrighty, so everything that we do in Build with Ben, I basically try to make open source because that's the whole point of this, right? We're learning together. There's no reason why you can't have access to the code. So in case you're wondering, like how can I get an example of this later, play around with it, check out the code. It'll be in here inside of my GitHub repo. And so it's currently called a local file API prototype. And so I don't foresee it changing, but if anything does change, I'll make sure that the link is updated in the description below for those of you who are watching the recording. So let's do a recap of what we made. So in the last session, let's see, okay, that's fired up. Localhost 3000. So what we got here is we have this whole idea of the One Piece crew and wanting to be able to add stuff, right? You want to be able to add like Luffy and Zoro, you want to be able to add stuff, but you want to be able to do so in a data that frankly can save the data and changes that you're making. Because right now all of this is good, but once we refresh the page, everything is gone. And so what we were able to do is we were able to actually open up a local directory using the Chrome System API. And so I believe, what did I do with it? Oh, here you go, local API prototype. This still exists on my desktop. And then boom. You'll notice that when I've actually opened the file, it's gone ahead and opened and populated everything into the app. So let's just go ahead and do a quick review on what's going on here. So when we are on the home page and we do the get directory, you'll see here, the get directories handle selects the directory, and then what happens is we select the directory and then we process every single file inside of that folder and populate it to our app so that everything is saved. And so once again, just to show kind of what that looks like, you can see here, boom, there it is. All of the individual JSON files, which is nice. One of the things we ran into, and one of the reasons why we need a part 2, is because if we ever go to any of these detail pages, for example, if we go to Zoro right now, you'll notice here that I have to re-get the permissions. It's like asking me to open another folder. And the reason for that is because every time you grant your user the permission, or more importantly, every time the user grants you permission to use it, it's for that particular session. And unless you find a way to store those permissions, it'll be reset every single time as you're navigating throughout the app. So knowing that, what we want to do is fix the experience so that we don't have to re-authenticate with the user every single time to be like, hey, can I use your folder? Hey, can I use your folder? No, we're just going to actually go right into it. So at this point, let's go back here. Once we get the directory handle, let's see, let me bump this open and let's zoom in a little bit here and let's go and get this directory again. One of the things we'll see here, if we go, let's see, this is the Nuxt Dev Tools, yes. But actually, where are my Vue Dev Tools? My Vue Dev Tools are missing. Let's see. So this might be because, oh no, it is violating the Vue. Okay, hold up. I wonder if that's because it's now in beta. That's unfortunate. Okay, hang on a sec. Live debugging, here we go. Let's see, we have Yep, Vue Dev Tools. Looks like this is the new one, compatible with Vue 3. All right, so I'm just gonna add to Chrome. Yes. Okay, great. Now, when we refresh, do we get our... Yep, this is enabled. So one more time. There we go. There's our, nothing like a good old refresh to make everything work. All right, so we're inside of here, and let's go ahead and see how it's a-going. All right, next page, router view, yes, no. I stored it lower. So directory handle right now is null. This makes sense because we haven't given it permission. Once we do, you can see that we actually have a file system directory that's actually working. Oh, I see here in the chat, I'm not sure Nuxt DevTool is working with the existing DevTool, is it? I think they actually kind of work side by side. Assuming it connects to the server, which it is running, it's supposed to show everything. I did enable routing. Okay, so clearly right now it's not working. But to your point, it's possible that Nuxt DevTool is conflicting with the Vue DevTools. I just haven't had a lot of time to figure out like kind of where those overlaps are. So something I'll have to look into for a future session. But good call out, that may be why we're seeing this kind of spinning thing in case anyone else actually does see that. So we have this handle over here, but the thing is we need to actually do something with it. We need to store it somewhere. So what we got to do is we got to figure out how to persist our file handle across the entire app. And so when we're thinking about local storage, I think most of us probably go to something like, well, can't we just do something like local storage and that kind of thing? So if we go to Chrome File System Access API, they do talk actually about this very thing, which is about storing the handles and permissions. So I think it's this one, but let me make sure real quick. Modifying existing security and permissions. No, I think it's storing it here. So you see here that there's a bunch of ways to actually store it, but it's a little bit trickier than that because we have to serialize them inside of index.db, which is suboptimal. We can see here that there actually is a way for us to basically store this thing inside of index.db. And so for those who don't know what index.db is, basically it allows you to, like, there is a database that exists inside of the browser that we can use to store more sort of complex data types beyond the standard data types that we're used to in JavaScript, like strings, numbers, that kind of stuff, which you could just use local storage on. But actually, since Eddie brought this up, let's talk about unstorage a bit. And so unstorage here looks like we have built-in memory storage, auto JSON, binary raw value support. Okay, so I like this. How does this work? Install unstorage, create storage. Okay. I mean, hey, let's give this a shot because for those that don't know, UnJS is actually a brainchild of the Nuxt team. And so what they're basically trying to do is create these primitives that can be used across different frameworks. And the benefit of that is that then we have people creating less bespoke tools because let's face it, there's only so many ways you want to do certain activities, like storing data locally. Like ideally, there's kind of one primitive that everyone can use, and that way we're not all creating bespoke solutions. And so UnJS is one of those efforts that are trying to resolve that issue. So anyhow, let's actually give this a shot then, shall we? Knowing this, I should just kill the server, yarn add unstorage. Oh, actually, I used npm. Why am I suddenly using yarn? Old habits. Okay, so again, so unstorage here is a way to basically store different types of things using what feels like normal JavaScript functions, to be quite honest. So here we have this unstorage. It's been installed, which is great. Now let's start back up the server. Whoops. Okay, that's starting up. Then the next thing we want to do then is actually go ahead and let's see if we can do the thing. Import create storage, yep, from unstorage. So the autocomplete is always a good thing because it means that the system found it. And then it looks like we can create some stuff. So following this example we have here, we can create storage and then the options that we get are the various things. So it looks like key plus options. So how do I use it? I'm assuming you get item /foo/bar. Okay. I assume that it's you put your key first and then the value. So set item. Oh, okay. you create the storage first? Oh, you create the storage and then you do stuff in it. Okay, I can get behind that. I guess it's creating a reference to the storage. So let's just test this out real quick. So theoretically then it's saying that storage.setItem, and we'll say file handle, and then we're just gonna put in like a string for file handle, just like that. Okay, so assuming this works, this means that we should be able to, actually now that I think about it, we say const test file handle equals storage.get item file handle, just like that. And then we can go ahead and let's just do this in a nice big H2 test file handle, save. Okay, so it's an object, which is actually kind of weirding me out a bit, not gonna lie, because storage.get item should theoretically have gotten the thing. So let's take a look. Okay, I'm just gonna log it then if it's calling. Oh, I know why, hold up, because you gotta await it. There we go. Okay, now we got the thing. Okay, clean, can't knock that. Now my question is though, if we go onto the member page, and this time we're gonna import storage. Is that what it says? Import create storage. Ah, yes. So, okay, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna do import create storage. Once again, do the same exact thing like we did before. Const storage equals create storage. But again, I think it's creating a reference to the storage, because otherwise it seems like we're creating new storages. But anyways, let's try this. Fetch handle equals await storage dot get item file handle. Yep, that autocomplete is correct. And then finally, I would just do an H2 here and on the fetch handle. That should do the trick. Okay, so here's what we're testing here. On the home page, we are, okay, let me actually space this out a little bit. We created a storage for unstorage, and we're actually setting the item inside of here. So we said, hey, a file handle, return the string. Actually, I'm doing something a little bit different, my cool file handle. Great. Then once we've set the item, we've tested whether we can fetch it on the same page, which is kind of redundant, but okay, we've tested that works. The question is, when we switch pages, will that actually work? So let's go ahead and open this up. Be bam, boop. Okay, we got everything viewed. Then we open Zoro, bam, and we got nothing. Okay, so I wonder why. So storage.get item, yep. So I think, okay, this is where we go back to, because I made some assumptions about the API. So if we're being fair here, let's double check now this usage. Bump that up for everyone to read. Yep, we've done it. We get the item. That's fine. Using memory if not provided. Oh, maybe the driver is wrong. Get items, get item raw, set items, set items, set multiple items. Remove item, get meta, sure. Okay, let's take a look. Watch mount, get mount. Okay. What if node file system? Okay. Maps the real directory. Oh, okay, this is another option. We have the ability to use the file system and then it stores it in there. Okay, because the default is memory, it looks like. Local source. Oh, we can also do index.db. Oh, this is cool. Maybe this is what Eddie was saying actually at the beginning, is that you can actually then create the storage, point it, base app. Oh, I think this is what we're talking about. Okay, so, okay, I'm gonna rewind a little bit because it looks like we ended up a little bit into this unstorage territory, which is totally cool actually. So when it's in memory though, we have to remember that it's using via map. Oh, if you don't, wait, if this, I thought, okay, I'm gonna speak out what my thoughts are out loud. I believe it said, yeah, the default is memory. So I shouldn't need to specify this. But what's interesting is that if you don't mount it again, I mean, wouldn't then, oh, I think I know where I messed up. So I think my instinct was actually spot on. So here's what I'm gonna say here. Okay, so we're gonna call this, we're gonna create a new composable called use storage. And then we're basically gonna follow the same thing as we normally do where you have export default const, yep, okay. Export const use storage, right? And then this is where we import the create storage. Nope, that's not what I want at all. Oh, create storage. Yeah, there you go. Okay, const storage equals create storage here. And so what we're going to do, we're going to actually copy this stuff we did here. So, give me one sec. Okay. So, Eddie here in the chat mentioned that Nuxt does a great job of helping you auto import all your functions that you're going to use. And so clearly what I'm doing here, use storage, it's very possible it's conflicting with some global things. So for now, absolutely, I think I'm just going to use it, use custom storage, and then that should do the trick. Should be a separate name. And so therefore, we shouldn't need this. We should be able to set the item this way. But then I believe we can just return, again, I'm going to do my custom storage just for naming consistency. Okay, just like that, and then, of course I messed that up. There we go. Okay, now we have this, we can double check a couple things. Let's go back to the home page. And this time, rather than fetch directly from that, we will actually, although I don't see why it should be auto-imported, right? So const test storage equals use custom storage, like that. And then all we gotta do, let's log this first, just to see what we got. And what do we got? Okay, we got an object, which is fine. And yep, I see a bunch of stuff in here. Get items, yeah, okay. So my custom storage, it's an object that contains a bunch of stuff. Okay, so basically what we can do is do like this, my custom storage, I believe. Then we can do my custom storage like this and then refresh. Great. And then just to make sure this all works, const test, because that's what it's yelling at me for, equals my custom storage dot get item file handle. Just like that. And then, oh, I forgot, we gotta wait the thing. Boom, my cool file handle does appear. So that is very cool. And then now I believe if I follow the same idea here, instead of that, const storage equal, actually now that I think about it, I can do this. My custom storage equals use custom storage like that. Then we should be able to say fetch handle equals await my custom storage get item, boom. Okay, so we go ahead and open that up. Bam, we have everything. Open that up. There you go. My cool file handle is saved. So awesome. We basically have a easy way of storing stuff that's being used in memory, which is very cool. However, now to get back to our original point, what we want to do is store the handle of the file, the folder directory and the permissions. Like we want to store all that stuff in the same place. And so the thing is though, we did learn that we do need to use index.db in order to do the thing. Because if we go back here, just to make sure we're all on the same page, you'll see here that the file handles and file and directory handles are serializable. In other words, meaning you can save them as data, but they're not just like, you can't just turn them into strings and then just like read and then like JSON parse them. That's what we're very used to when we're working with data locally. And so in order to do this then, we need to use IndexedDB. And so the nice thing though is that inside of our unstorage, there actually is an IndexedDB option. And so we're actually just gonna follow along and actually see if this works as intended. So let's do this. All right, so keeping up this path, npm i-idb keyval. So what this is basically a library that I might have actually used like straightforwardly in terms of the GitHub repo because it makes it easier to interface with IDB or IndexedDB, which can be pretty complicated if you're working with the primitives in my opinion. But I am a big fan of the Nuxt team finding ways to just make it feel like you're writing normal Vue code, and then it just kind of does all the abstractions for you. And then, of course, as always, if you need to break it up into its primitives, you're always welcome to. But, okay, now that we have the IDB, now we can actually play around with this a little bit more. So rather than just create a simple storage that uses memory, we're going to use the IndexedDB driver. However, it looks like we actually need to import this from IndexedDB. Okay, no, unfortunately, no autocomplete, which I'm a little sad by. But this looks like this is right. Drivers IndexedDB, like this. Okay, does that exist? Yeah, sure, it's never read. That's totally fine. And then we can have IndexedDB driver like that. That looks good. Base. Sure, let's just stick with the convention app. Only problem is it cannot find it, which is actually what I was afraid of. So the way we check this, by the way, in case you're ever wondering, is we actually literally just dive into the node modules. Typically we talk about this like it's some big scary thing, but it is not so bad. So we have unstorage here. Drivers is correct, but then, no, index.db is there. Did I mistype something? Indexed. Oh, this is the thing that's mistyped. It's actually being generated at indexed B. So if I do this, that fixes it. Although that means we do have a bug inside of this. Since it should be indexedDB, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so now that we have this, we have the IndexedDB driver. This is good. So now I think we can actually, everything should still work as anticipated. It just will be slightly different. So if we start back up here, all right, everything's running. Oh, something uber broke. IndexedDB is not defined. IndexedDB. Yep. Unhandled error. Local file prototype node. Oh, why is IDB not? This is a little odd. We have IDB key val. Do I need to install IDB? IDB key val. Is there any dependencies that I need to do that I need to know about? Nope. Just IDB key val. Why is index.db not defined? That's weird to me. Yep, unstorage. Unless, I'm assuming this is the part that's breaking it. So if we unstorage here, drivers dist, shared, nope, it's not in dist. It's definitely here. And if we look inside of the IndexedDB MJS, it gets everything from IDB key val. Yeah, that's fine. What's the problem? This looks good. Looks pretty straightforward. This is unfortunate. Refresh. Application index. I mean, IndexedDB is sitting inside of the browser, so I'm a little surprised that it says that it's not defined. So, I wonder. Is it because you have to initialize it first? Maybe that's why? Because you have, no, if you run the function though, you should grab this. This is a little bit sad. Okay, so given that we're a little stuck on this, I don't want to block the main path we're trying to go on at this point, which is we're trying to get to a point where we can save the thing. And so I'd love to make this possible through unstorage, but right now that doesn't seem to be happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to table this exploration to try to figure out more, because I think unstorage has a lot of potential here as far as standardizing the way we get to our local storage or IndexedDB, that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, what I want to do to make sure that we kind of, I believe I can hit a milestone by the end of this session, is we want to make sure we figure out a way, again, to store the file directory or like the folders. Okay, so knowing that, what we're gonna do, let me see. Okay, a lot of things are broken. What have I changed? I've changed a decent amount of things. Yep, okay, I'm just gonna stash this stuff for later. Yeah, okay, good enough. So let's reset our workspace a bit. Beauty of using version control is that we can take that and explore it later on. Okay, so what we do want to do though is we want to do the keyval IDB because we want to be able to actually store said thing. So let's go back to IDB keyval real quick and show you kind of what that's all about. And so basically here we have the ability to grab the value of something from the IndexedDB. And so all we got to do is get set and set what, and then get the thing. Okay, straightforward enough. So let's do the same thing again in the IDB keyval, just like this. Cool. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to say, we'll create a use browser database, or let's use browserdb.ts. Keep it explicit. Okay, so we have this stuff, which is great. And what we're going to do, though, we're going to import. Actually, is there even an initialization of the IDB? No, it looks like you just get and set stuff. Oh. Okay, if that's the case, then this composable might be pretty useless, actually. We're going to skip that, go back here. And this time we're going to import the set from IDB keyval. Okay. And let's test this out where we say set new file handle equals whoa, did this work? Save. Okay. To test this out, I need to start up the server again. Oh, it's still saying IndexedDB is not defined. Buddy. Default get store IDB keyval, but I was given no instructions regarding the IDB. IndexedDB. Use custom storage. I mean, yeah, but I'm not using this file anymore. Okay, let's just make sure everything is truly gone. Try this again. No, it says index.db is not defined. Why? Okay. Good old let's go is not defined. Why is it yelling at me? With IDB keyval. Because I assumed, that's fine. This might work. Set, yes. Oh, use, oh. I think I know what happened. Shoot, and that might even solve the unstorage problem, but that's totally fine. I think I may have figured that out. Okay, so this goes back to the classic issue of when something is being triggered on the code side. And so when we initialize this set immediately, what's actually happening is on the server side. There you go. Yep, I see it here in the chat. Yeah, it's a server thing. There is no index.db because we're not even on the browser yet. And so that I do think that's something we often forget about when we're building stuff, especially for the front-end developers, and we specialize in building UI. We forget that there is a point where the browser does not exist. So that said, let's just keep this simple, shall we? And we just do it like this. All right. Hey, check that out. Cool. So if you're wondering, I didn't console log or do anything because we don't need to. We can actually see if this worked. Because now we go inside of index.bdb, we do the key value store. Look at that new file handle. Whoa, did this work? Yes, it did. And so to prove, once again, we always prove that the things we're doing is working in the long run. We come over here, come over here, and this time we import get from IDB keyval, just like that. And this will solve the unstorage problem. It was definitely, I'm almost 90% sure it's this. We would get the new file handle, basically. Oh, and then can we log the results? No, I don't think that's how that works. Const test equals that, then sure, let's log the test. That, refresh. Oh yeah, that's right. So we have this, we set the value, go inside of Zoro, and you see here we have a promise. Oh, does that mean I need to await the thing? Await. And then, yeah, whoa, did this work? Boom. Okay, so to be honest, syntax-wise, very, very simple. I see Eddie in the chat. Thanks, Nux, for simplifying things too much. Yeah, it's funny. We often do forget that there's this server part that starts before anything loads. And so as a result, you do have to make sure you're calling your code in the right place. So honestly, always a good reminder on that front. We're going to go back and use the unstorage. So because now you've seen the primitive of using the IDB key val, in that it's actually really basically for the fact that you get this kind of built-in database and you're coming inside and you're just grabbing stuff. This is great. Okay, I'm now fairly confident that if I pop the stash, yep. And this time, I think though I did I set file handle is gone. Yep. And then crew member here, test gone. Great. Don't need that anymore. Okay. So knowing all this stuff, actually, how are we doing here? Let me see. Install keyval, set. I thought it popped this git. Oh, no changes made because I already have a bunch of stuff in here. Okay, that's fine. Git stash pop. There we go. npm I, just to make sure. And then now we have, okay, so the use custom storage is gone. So we're just going to recreate that real quick. I accidentally deleted that because I thought it was a lost cause, but clearly not. Use custom storage, yes. And then it was const my custom storage equals create storage. Whoop, that wasn't what I wanted at all. Create storage, yes. And then this time though, we said that we would put the driver and it would be index.db. Yeah, this was the unfortunate part. We have to import index.db driver from, and then there was no dist, it was just this. And then we remember that we had a typo inside of here for whatever reason in the generated file. So then we have our index.db driver here. And then I think it was like base at like this. Then from here, we have our custom storage and we can return my custom storage. Just like that. Although I missed a parentheses. Save. Cool. My custom storage. Oh, I think I forgot we did one more thing just to test it out. My custom storage dot, I think set item, perfect. And then this time, sure, let's just do foo bar and see what happens. And then on the home page, I believe we call it. Do we call it? Oh, nope. Undo. Let me close this and then reopen. Test file handle. Okay, get item file handle. That's right. Okay, we're not going to worry about this right now. We're just actually going to say app. Oh, actually, I realized I don't even need. No, I don't even need to check anything because. Okay, index.db not defined. Okay, what do we do again? Remember, the issue here is that it doesn't exist. So we actually only call this inside of our lifecycle hook, like that. And then, am I? Oh, sure. Sorry, it's we're not in the. We're just at the home page right now. There we go. That looks much better. So assuming this works, we can see app foo. Oh, interesting. Okay, so app foo bar, that totally did work. However, we did notice something interesting. So by adding the prefix, the colon, it actually already does it. So the base app foo, this should do it. If I refresh, is the data going to be stale? Sure. So let me refresh. There you go, app foo bar. All right, now everything's stored, everything's moving forward, everything looks good. So what this tells me is that we can go ahead and wipe this out. So we have our custom storage working. And what we can do now is that inside of here, when we actually get the directory handle, we're actually not just going to save it. We're actually get directory handle. Where's get directory handle? I think it's from here. Yeah. So get directory handle is now being saved to a value here. But we should be able to refactor this now to then say, okay, here we go. How are we going to do this? Okay, we are going to const my custom storage equals use custom storage, right? So we have that. Then my custom storage dot set item directory handle, and then instead of just this, we would actually set item directory handle with, can we do this? Is this legal? Is that okay? I don't think this will work. Yeah, something feels, okay, hold on, that's fine. Let's just make sure. Nope, I don't, something feels funny. Set item, no, I think the cleaner thing is just go at a directory. Temp directory handle equals await window.show directory picker. Yep, like that. Although it's fun, oh, it's yelling at me. Okay, hold up. It's gonna yell at me either way. So we're actually just gonna see if this even works. Save, refresh. Okay, so we get this and we save it and we refresh. New file handle did not work. We have an error, it seems. Let me take a look at the error real quick. Yeah, I cannot stringify value. Wait, but we're using the IDB though, so why are we stringifying values? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's fine. Let's set item. Once again, let's test something out real quick. We're just gonna literally set the string. And we go over to our application, we get the directory, and then we refresh. App directory handle, yeah, is a string. But the whole point of the IDB we said was that it could serialize it. So I'm a little surprised here. Temp directory handle. All right, we're grabbing that. Then we temp directory handle here. Okay, that should be better, I think. All right, refresh, get the directory, save. Another error. I bet you can't stringify it again. Unstorage cannot stringify value. Okay, but it's weird because if I open up the set like this, will this work? Okay, so we have that. Application, this is good. Save. Much better. Weird. Okay, so for whatever reason, it looks like we either encountered a bug or whatnot, but point still stands. We actually now have the directory handle actually right here now. So if you open this up, you'll see that there's a directory handle. This is great, local API prototype. So cool, that's good. Now I'm curious how we're gonna end up dealing with that at some point. But anyways, okay. So before I end up botching everything, we had a working prototype. So let's go backwards, back to our original. So rather than like botch everything at once, we're gonna kind of piecemeal this together. So first thing first, we have this working, there's the whole reactivity system counting on this. But again, we're gonna import the set and we're gonna do the directory handle just like that. That way it'll actually update every time. So again, to show you that this actually works, let's go ahead and clear this entire data set, delete everything, refresh. IDB is completely fresh. Then we go ahead and grab set directory. And then when we refresh, you'll see directory handle is correct. Now, what I want to do now is, so inside of the member, at this point I have this on mounted to like check it out. So then instead what I want to do is on mounted, we're not going to get the directory handle. We're just going to say, we're going to use the get. Oh, where's the get from IDB? That did not autocomplete the way I wanted to. Import get from IDB keyval. And then we'll get the directory handle like this. Okay, so const dir handle equals await like this, then log dir handle. Okay, just like that. Then if we open this up, we'll see here that the file directory handle did actually work. So that's good. So we have access to that. Okay, so knowing that, it actually then makes me wonder, Actually, let me copy this real quick because I'm going to want this bit in a moment. Read file. Yeah, because we don't need to get the directory handle anymore and we just read the file, right? Okay, so actually what I realized what that means is we can delete this. And theoretically, when we read the file, this should just work because when we go inside a read file, now we're going to actually delete that. And where's read file? Read file, instead of going directly to the reactivity handle, we're going to comment this piece out, okay? Instead of this, we're going to only use let's say stored handle equals await get directory handle, which we will grab from IDB get value. And then it's not a reactive value, so we don't need that. And then it's the stored handle like this, and that should do the trick. So if we, oh, that did it. Oh, that did it. Okay, so again, just to show, okay, there we go. We have it opened up. There we go. We have it. Zoro just opens up, and all your permissions are automatically saved. Voila, we did it. Took a little bit in terms of finagling and trying some stuff out, but we now have the ability to persist the folder that we saved, that the user designated for us to use. And now basically if I go back actually, oh, okay, this is an interesting thing because when we go back to the home page, okay, let's fix this actually. Actually, you know what? Hold up. I get excited so often about getting something working. I gotta remember we gotta commit the work because watch me break everything and then it just, yeah, we'll do cleanup in a second. Oh, I don't need that file. Don't need the custom storage. Okay, for now, because it did not actually work out. Okay, let me update some stuff actually. This is where we go through a little bit of the cleanup. Actually, let's do this real quick. So package, we don't need unstorage right now because unfortunately that was not working out for us from an IDB perspective. It worked really great memory-wise. So I just installed it to re-prepare the package lock, which now we're good. Custom storage, again, this was using unstorage. Right now we're not actually going to use it, so we're deleting it. File system has been changed a little bit, which is fine. We'll leave the comments and we'll refactor that later. Index, we basically check to make sure that it's working. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we technically don't need this. And I think that's all, meaning I don't think it's actually anything has been changed really on that page anymore. Oh yeah, right. We had this test file handle. That's going to go gone. That's gone too. Okay, there we go. And then member, on the other hand, member, let's clean this up a little bit. We're not using unstorage. We don't need to get the directory handle. All we need to do is read set file. And then I think, yeah, everything should, oh wait, we don't need this fetch handle either. And then fetch handle here, we can delete that. Custom storage, delete that. Okay, pretty clean then. Okay, so with this commit, feature, user can now persist folder selection across pages through IDB. Okay, cool. Now, in the last bit of time that we have left, what I do want to do though is you notice that when we went back into the home page, it did not show anything. It was like as if it never had a configuration. So I think the reason for that is because we're relying on this directory handle to be the reactive piece that's being tracked everywhere. So I'm trying to think what would be the best way for us to do this. So if we look at our file system API, we have this directory handle ref null. I mean, the ref can contain other stuff. So technically, we could say that whenever we start up the application, we could check to make sure that IDB has something. If it does populate the thing, populate our ref, which will then populate to everything else. Otherwise, don't do anything. So I think this is where we need like a check permissions bit. So I'm actually going to just do that now, I think. A function check permission. And so it's pretty straightforward from a, okay, has has permission. Okay, I guess has permission is fine. Await will has permission is actually a little bit misleading. Has, all right, let's do handle has. All right, has directory handle. We're just gonna call it that, and we'll await get directory handle, right? So we're basically checking local DB. If has directory handle is true, then log, hey, I have it, else log, I don't have it. Oh, I don't have it. Okay, just like that. And so what we'd like to do, oh wait, we gotta export this thing. Don't wanna make that mistake. Check permission, right? Okay, so now what we wanna do is when we load the page, okay, so we go on mounted, we can say check, oh yeah, use file system API. How did I do that? Oh, that's what I did. I exported all that stuff here. Okay, so check permission is here. Then we will basically run check permission here. Await check permission. And then we need to make this async to make that work. Great. So it should say that we have the thing. So let's refresh. Oof. Can I find module Nux disk server? Oh no, what did I do? Did I break something? Oh, I broke something heavily. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, refresh. All right, much better. Okay, so it says, hey, I have it. I have the thing. Cool. Now that I know we have the thing, really in its midst of checking permissions, my thought here is that it should just go ahead and assign it, honestly. Like it has a directory handle, then directory handle dot value equals, yeah, has directory handle. Although I don't love the variable name anymore. Otherwise, we trigger get directory handle. That actually would be pretty sweet because what we end up getting then from a UX perspective is that the user is always automatically prompted to set a permission before the app goes on. Otherwise, you're technically losing data, right? That's not being saved locally. So it looks like we actually have that here. But what's interesting though is that when directory handle is triggered, because like as you can see here, we actually have the file handle now. It is not triggering the fetching of said data. So what that means to me is, yep, we have to read the files, right? And if we read the files, then it's pushed into So part of this is, okay, I will say the state management is going to start to get a little bit complicated because we now have dependencies on where, when something happens, populate the local like app database. So check permission here. So rather than select directory, really what we need is if you think about this, another function that reads the files and then pushes them automatically and goes that accordingly. So, I mean, now that I think about it though, why that? Okay, again, for the sake of repetition, this is what theoretically we would do. So we would do that. Yeah, so okay, when I refresh, that automatically does it, which is great. This is good. And then, so just for the sake of testing this out, if we create a new folder inside of here called, let's see, Shanks crew, right? And we select this. Oh, interesting. Okay, I mean, this is correct. There's nothing inside of here, so I can do Shanks. Yes, we save. And then we get the data, we switch back to local API prototype, open up, there you go. Oh, interesting, it shows the folder actually for Shanks, which is kind of interesting. But if we refresh, it does, oh, yeah, okay. There's data cleanup stuff that's happening. That's fine. That's stuff that can be ironed out. But otherwise, what we have here is a functioning prototype for how things work. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, let's do the wrap up on this. Okay, so today, what do? We went ahead and we basically wrapped up this prototype where we learned how we could interface with local files in a way that feels like we're actually working with an app. So in terms of like, we're just pushing stuff to arrays and then it just saves. to a local bunch of local files that we have access to later on. And what's great is that we've found a way to persist that data throughout the sessions, in other words, the different pages, and different patterns we could play around with in terms of checking to make sure we have the permissions, and then if not, making sure the user sets it, and then we kind of move on. But otherwise, at this point, we have the ability to work through all that, and we tested out the ability to use unstorage.js, which is a Nuxt solution for basically providing a one-stop solution. But it looks like there were some issues regarding things that were not strings. So unfortunately, unstorage at this point is not a viable solution for how I'm currently trying to manage the serializable directory handles that we're working with. But we went down into the primitives as we do, although not quite the true primitive, but IDB keyval, which is a fantastic library by Jake Archibald. And that'll let us just kind of proceed from there and get everything working as we would expect. So super exciting, and I'm glad that we got across the finish line for this. Forgot to drink water today in my cool mug. And with that, I guess that's a wrap for this particular session. As always, if you have any questions about what we did or have any of the topics you'd love to see, please feel free to comment below. Your feedback is always greatly appreciated. And as I'm figuring out this content creation stuff, for those who have been posting all your supportive comments, really appreciate it to all of you. It's meant a lot to me as I've been trying to figure out what exactly is working and how to kind of get this thing moving along. But otherwise, hope everyone is having a great day so far. I think that's a wrap for today. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and I guess I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.